Hey guys, welcome to my channel and thanks for watching. For today's video, I decided to make a zombie. I wanted my zombie to be kind of like cartoon and really gross. I started by baking 6 8-inch vanilla cakes that I dyed red, and I used American buttercream that I also dyed red to give it a bloody brains kind of look when cutting into it. Once I filled and stacked the cakes, I started carving it down into a head shape. I recommend chilling the cake for at least 25 minutes before carving it down. It makes it a lot easier and less messy. I carved out a rough eye area and used my cake pop mixture to build up other areas, like his chin and the top of his head. Once I was happy with the shape, I put the crumb coat on. After I crumb coated it, I put it in the fridge to chill for about 25 to 30 minutes. After the cake was chilled, I added a second layer of buttercream and then chilled it again. While the cake was chilling, I tinted my fondant a sort of flesh tone color. I then started to cover my cake. I smoothed it out with just using my hands. I wasn't really too worried about possible rips or bumps and lumps because, I mean, it's a zombie and it's got rips and lumps and bumps. So, I mean, I did a good job, but I wasn't really worried about it. I then just used my knife and removed the excess fondant. Now it was time to start making the features and the details. For this I used modeling chocolate. I made the eyes and then I rolled out some snake-like shapes to make the brain. I just, with a little bit of water, added it to the top of the cake in sort of a squiggly pattern, you know, what you think a brain kind of looks like. Once I completed the brain, I went around the edge of it with my knife and lifted it up so it looked like his head was ripped off the top. Because I used red dye in my buttercream and my vanilla cake, it made it look so gory. Like, I really was enjoying how this was looking. Using my fondant tools, I added the nose, and I wanted it to look like the flesh had rotted off. Then using my tools, I sort of dug holes into his face. I put lots of lines and crevices to make him look old and crusty. Next, I added his eyelids, both top and bottom. I used my tool to sort of press them in and give them the shape and the creases. Next, I added the eyebrows. I just sort of pressed them on and, again, using my tool, added in some texture and lines. I wanted my zombie to look like he didn't have a bottom jaw, like it had gotten ripped off. So his tongue was just hanging out of his mouth. I then added his ears, which I made look like they were tattered and torn. Now it's time to start adding the paint and the color. So I started by painting his eyes. I didn't want them to look very lifelike, so I made them very dark and dull. I went over the whole face, including the tongue, with different powders. I used red for the tongue and all around the eyes, and then I used a deep green in different areas as well. At this point, I'm just trying to add color to make it look dark and gross. Now it's time to take out the airbrush. I went around the entire head using different shades. I used brown, a little bit of red, a little bit of green, and some black. There's no rules really, just whatever you think looks good. Using some clear glaze, which I dyed red, I used it to stick in his teeth, which were peanuts. I kind of shaved them down into the shape of some jagged teeth, and I stuck those in. Then using the red glaze, I went around and added blood drips around his mouth, coming from his eyes, coming from all of his sores, all around the entire brain, and dripping down his head. And that's it! A deliciously disgusting zombie cake you can scare your party guests with. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.